Hi students, welcome to Easy Elimu Learning Simplified. My name is Mbide, and in this session we are going to learn about creative writing and more specifically imaginative compositions. Remember, in the introduction to creative writing we said that there are different forms or different types of creative writing. One of them was drama, which entails the plays. The other was verse, which entails poetry and poems. The other one was prose fiction, which has short stories, novels, and imaginative compositions. So our main focus for today will be the imaginative compositions. So an imaginative composition is a type of writing that is produced by vivid and creative imagination. It describes a situation or story based on a writer's own imagination. Remember a while back when we learned about functional writing, and we said that functional writing has a fixed format and so on, but imaginative writing or creative writing is a bit hands-free. It allows you to use your imagination as much as you want. Because you see, in functional writing, like let's say in writing a formal letter, maybe you're applying for a job, there is no imagination. You're writing facts, you're writing which school you went to, what you've done, what skills you have, what experience you have. You write the truth as it is. But now for imaginative compositions, you're allowed to use imagination to write things that may maybe even never ever be a reality. So the writer creates a scene using observation, imagination, and expressions, culminating in a text that leaves a lasting impression on the reader. So for example, you want to write an imaginative composition about how life will be like in the future. You have never been to the future, so you don't know. So everything you're going to write will just be an imagination. What you think, how will people be dressing? How will cars look like? Maybe there will be cars that are driving themselves. Maybe there will be cars that are flying above others in traffic. All this is, you have to think and imagine it because you have never seen it. So you have to invoke your imaginative skills and creative skills. So before you embark on writing an imaginative composition, it is important to prepare yourself before you even write. Now, an imaginative composition, just like other essays, has three parts or is divided into three parts. We have the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. So in the introduction, this is the part that welcomes the reader to your composition. This is the first thing that your reader will see. So as you're writing or as you're preparing to write, catch the reader's attention with a conflict or with something that is unexpected. Introduce the story, mention the characters, and say what they do. So, as I read your introductory paragraph, maybe paragraph 1 and paragraph 2, I should be able to want to continue reading because you have made me curious. I want to know what happens next. That is important in imaginative compositions. Catch your reader's attention from the word go. So before we go to the body and the conclusion, let us have a look at two examples of an introduction. The first one, "Get up," he screamed. And it suddenly dawned on me that I was in a huge sea of trouble. I had heard the screech of brakes, tires skidding, and car doors banging with deafening noise, but I did not pay much attention as I worked busily at my desk. The work that I had to clear was so much that I hardly had anyone storm in. When you read that paragraph or those 4 lines, you want to know what happened. What was the commotion about? What did this person do? That introduction has caught your attention. Let us look at the second one. This time, we did not know how to get out of this. It is only one sentence, but makes you want to know, get out of what, where, how, why, when. It makes you curious to want to read the next sentence and the next sentence, and eventually read the entire composition. So try as much as possible for your introductory sentence and introductory paragraph to make your reader as curious as possible. That is the only way to catch their attention so that they can read the next paragraph and the next one and the next one, and before they know it, they have read the entire composition. So after you have introduced your composition, you now go to the body. The body carries the largest number of paragraphs. You can have as many paragraphs as you wish. The body carries also the central idea of the composition. The main event in an imaginative composition is developed by the paragraphs in the body. It includes the main points of the essay, the climax, and the falling action. So all the action takes place in the body. The introduction just gives us a glimpse, and then we get into the body, and all the action happens there. And as you're writing, use as many stylistic devices as you can. Flashbacks, similes, metaphors, onomatopoeia, idiophons, as many as you can to make your story more interesting. You can develop the plot by focusing on the events of the story and the development of characters. So remember, the plot is the flow of the story. So to develop the story, develop your characters well, give them, let your reader be very familiar with your characters and their character traits, describe them very well. And lastly, use credible and well-developed characters to make your story interesting. So develop and grow your characters as much as possible, because characters are part of making your story great, making your plot be developed well. And lastly, after you have introduced your composition, you have developed it in the body, you now want to end. We now call that the conclusion. That is the last part of your composition. Maybe the last paragraph or the last two paragraphs where you're winding down. So this is the part that signifies that this is the end of the composition, and it should have a credible and satisfying ending. So that means don't leave your reader hanging. Don't leave the story hanging. Complete the story. So let us have a look at an example of a conclusion. Every time I see where education has taken me in my short life, I remember my father's words that education would indeed take me far. Well, what my dad did not do was to tell me what the word far meant. Is it geographical distance? Is it social distance? Economic distance? Climbing the academic ladder? Promotion in my place of work? I guess it is up to me to discover. When you read that paragraph, that conclusion, you can see that the writer has not left you hanging, but has also left you asking yourself a question. What is this far? What does far mean? Is it geographical distance, like you will go far away from your people? Is it economic, that you will get richer than other people? Is it social distance, that you won't have friends? What does far really mean? So this ending has not left you hanging, but it has also left you with a question to ponder on, with something to think about. So your conclusion should leave your reader satisfied that the story is over, but can also leave them asking themselves a question or two. So that's it for imaginative compositions. I hope you have understood and you're now able to write an imaginative composition on your own. For further practice, you can have a look at the quiz and attempt to do it. Write a story beginning with the following statement. Help! The silence of the night was disturbed by a desperate cry for help. So before you write, you can start by planning. You can have a draft, a few points that you want to have in your composition, and remember to be as creative as possible and to use as many figures of speech as possible. Thank you for tuning in, and see you in the next session.